Hi everyone, this is our Year 5 history. So our new topic is the impact of war in the 20th century. And we're going to be looking at World War One, which, as you know, it was from 1914 to 1918, and World War Two, 1939 to 1945. In lesson 1, we're going to be looking at what were the causes of World War One. This man here and his wife, that's the Archduke Ferdinand. And he was the next in line to the throne of Austria. On the 28th of June 1914, he was shot dead by a terrorist, and that event kicked off World War One. But that wasn't really the cause of it, because why would one person's shooting lead to a war involving millions of people? That's what we're going to look at today. Here were the main countries, the main European countries that were involved in World War One. And as you can see, the Triple Entente, which is a French word meaning alliance, involved the United Kingdom, that's us, France, and Russia, and later on Italy and some other countries. On the other side was Germany, with Austria Hungary, which was in those days a much bigger country than it is now, and also these countries, Bulgaria and Turkey. Blue countries on this map were neutral, which means they didn't take part. So they're a bit like the referee in a football match, who's not on either side. Later, you're going to be doing your own version of this map with a blank one that you can print off from the school's website, and then you can colour in the 3 different colours. Also later on, your task is going to be to fill all these boxes with the 6 main causes of World War One. So you're going to use this video to help you to find out what the causes are, and then later you're going to write them into these boxes. And this is on a sheet that you can print out from the school's website, or if your printer's not working or anything like that, you could just draw something like this on a piece of paper at home. Right, first main cause of World War One. Here's France, here's Germany, and here's us, the United Kingdom. France and Germany had already had a big war in 1870. And at the end of the war, Germany won, and they said, right, from now on, this area, the orange bit, that's going to be ours, and it's called Alsace-Lorraine. And you probably have heard of this area because it's where Alsatian dogs come from. So it's an area between France and Germany. It belongs to France now, but at the end of the 1870 war, the Germans said, right, we've won, so we're having this bit. You can imagine the French were pretty upset, and so they wanted to get revenge for that defeat as soon as possible and to get this land back, Alsace-Lorraine. So they were already looking for a way of getting their own back on Germany. And they knew they wouldn't be able to beat Germany on their own, so they were looking to us, to Britain, for help. That's one of the causes of World War One. Next important cause. This is a map of Africa in 1914. It's quite different to the map of Africa now, because these countries are now independent. Some of them are the same, like Libya and Egypt, but as you can see, if you look at the key, Egypt used to belong to Britain, and all of this area used to belong to France. France and Britain had colonies in Africa. Lots of this area used to belong to France and Britain, and the Germans were very jealous, and they had arrived late on the scene, and they wanted to have an empire the same as Britain and France, and you can see Belgium as well, and Portugal. But if you look closely at the map, you'll see that most of it belongs to either Britain or France. Nowadays, most of these countries are independent, and they're controlled by the people who actually live there, the African people, but not in 1914. So Germany was quite upset with the way things had been carved up by Britain and France. That's another important cause of World War One. Britain and Germany both started building these massive warships. This is in the days before tanks and before aeroplanes were used in wars. And so this ship was about the best thing going. Britain had loads of these ships. They're called dreadnoughts. And after a while, the Germans started to build these dreadnoughts as well. And then, as you can see on the table, they started to get into a bit of a race. So in 1906, for example, Britain built a dreadnought, and the next year they built another 3. And in 1908, they built another 2. And now Germany was jealous, and they said, well, we're going to build 4. And the next year they built 3, and so on and so on. So by the time the war actually started in 1914, Britain had 29 of these massive ships, and Germany had 17. And each country thought, well, the only reason they're building these ships is because they're going to attack us. So that is another important cause of World War I. Now, in those days, Austria Hungary was one big country. The modern countries are here on the map. There's Austria, which isn't such a big country anymore. And there's the Czech Republic, Slovakia. Hungary is a separate country now. Croatia, Slovenia, etc. Bosnia, all these different places. But in those days, the orange line shows you that this was all one massive country. A lot of the people living in Austria-Hungary didn't really want to be Austria-Hungary. They weren't Austrian or Hungarian, and they didn't like being ruled by people a long way away in Vienna. Some of the people down in this area, in Sarajevo, were really fed up, and they were Serbian, and they wanted to be part of this country, Serbia. And some of them, extreme ones, who decided to join a terrorist group, they shot the Archduke, the man we saw in the picture in the first place. And Archduke Ferdinand was shot here in Sarajevo in 1914. There he is with his wife. And they went for a visit that day from Vienna. That's where they live normally. They went for a visit to Sarajevo, and they went out in an open-topped car without any bodyguards. And these 6 quite young men, terrorists, decided that he was a foreigner and they didn't want him in their country, and they shot him. So that is another important cause of World War I. The Austria-Hungarians, the Archduke's dad, was very scared by this. Not only did he lose his son, but he was thinking, well, if they all become independent, then we won't have anything left. We won't have this area where the Czech Republic is. We won't have Slovakia. We won't have any of these areas. They'll all become independent. So he was scared by that, and he was looking for the Germans to help him to stop this nationalism. Here's Russia. Like nowadays, Russia is a massive country. And here's the Austria-Hungarian Empire that we looked at. And there's Serbia. Now, the Russians supported Serbia, and they wanted them to be strong. And they were very worried when the Archduke was shot that Austria would use this as an excuse to take over Serbia and perhaps Bulgaria as well. And they'd already had one war with the Austrians in this area. So they were looking to make sure that the Austrians didn't spread themselves any further, because they thought that's a threat to them. So that's another cause of World War I. Here's all the countries in the map that we saw earlier, all divided up into teams because they were all scared of each other already before the Archduke was shot. Germany was scared of Britain's navy. Britain was scared of Germany's navy. France were upset about losing their territory, Alsace-Lorraine, which is this bit. Austria-Hungary were worried about countries like Serbia and about these areas all becoming separate countries like they are now. And Russia didn't want the Austrians to get more power in this area. So everybody had something to be scared of. So they signed deals with each other, alliances. For example, Germany signed a deal with Austria. Well, if you have any wars, we'll join in with you. So when the Archduke was shot, all these countries had already signed up to join each other in a battle. So you ended up with Britain, France and Russia against Austria-Hungary and Germany. And the shooting of one man, this chap here, led to one of the biggest wars in history. Hopefully you've got an idea now of some of the causes of World War I. But of course, if you didn't catch all that, you can go and look at the video again and then write the causes in these boxes. When you've got the 6 causes, then I want you underneath that on your piece of paper to choose one of them. So choose one that you think is the most important. And there isn't really a right and wrong answer, a right or a wrong answer for that. You just choose the one that you want to argue is the most important. And as long as you're convincing in your arguments and persuasive, that's what we're looking for. When you've done that, this copy of the map without colours on, you can print one of these off the school from the school website and colour these in the same colours. So choose a colour for Britain with France and Russia, because they were all on the same side. And then choose another colour for Germany, which is here, and Austria Hungary, because they were on the same side. And then some of the other countries were neutral. So you can do Spain, for example, in a different colour. Use the map that's on the video to help. So the 3 things you're doing are you're writing down all the important causes in these bubbles. You're choosing one that you think is more important and you're going to make an argument. Why is it more important? And then you're going to colour in this map. Now the writing is going to be on the bubble diagram and your map is obviously going to be on here. So you won't be able to send them to me, but you could send a photograph on the school's email so that I know you've done your history work. And then I'll check it. Make sure you do the spelling right before you send it to me. And I think that's it really. When you've done those 3 things, make sure you keep all the stuff that you've done together in a folder. If you have your history book with you, that's great. But if you haven't, don't worry about it and just keep it all together, all the history work that you do over the next few weeks. Okay, well done everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye.